Your perception determines everything. Life is not only about the temporary struggles right in front of us. It is also about poetry, dreams, and the distant places our hearts long for. But in reality, how many people are truly willing to set aside the burdens of everyday life? How many are brave enough to let go of financial pressure, desire, and ambition in order to chase something deeper, something more meaningful? Poetry, in this sense, is the joy that rises from the deepest part of the soul. And the distant horizon is the journey of having the courage to step beyond the need for immediate security. As Somerset Maugham wrote in The Moon and Sixpence, most people do not become who they truly want to be. They become who they have to be. The moon represents the ideal. The sixpence represents reality. So which one would you choose? Will you lift your eyes and chase the moon hanging quietly above you, or will you lower your head and live only for the rice and survival of daily life? The answer will be different for every person. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, a place where we explore self-growth and personal transformation through powerful books and meaningful ideas. Today, I want to share a message called Your Perception Determines Everything, inspired by the novel The Moon and Sixpence. This timeless classic by William Somerset Maugham is more than just a novel. It is a mirror that forces us to reflect on how we choose to live, what we value, and whether we are truly following our own path or simply fulfilling the expectations placed on us. Your perception shapes the life you choose to pursue. Strickland, the main character of the story, was a stockbroker in London. He had a stable career, earned enough money to support his family, lived in the city, had a capable wife, and 2 lovely children. By all appearances, he had everything most people spend their lives trying to build. A respectable career, financial comfort, social status, and a family life that seemed complete. He was living the kind of life many would admire. But what no one expected was that this quiet, ordinary, even somewhat dull middle-aged man would suddenly walk away from everything he had built over half his lifetime and leave for Paris. He went alone. All he left behind was a short letter to his wife, fewer than 10 lines, saying that he would never come back. At the age of 40, Strickland coldly abandoned his wife and children for one uncertain dream, to become a painter. To everyone around him, it looked like a foolish and deeply irresponsible decision. First, it seemed absurd because he gave up a comfortable and stable life just to throw himself into poverty and hardship. He devoted all of his time and energy to painting, caring little about food, clothes, or shelter. He lived only at the bare minimum, just enough to survive. He took any temporary work he could find to make quick money, but as soon as he had enough, he spent it all on paint and locked himself away to work. The second reason people saw it as a mistake was because it seemed blind and reckless. He had chosen a path with no guaranteed future. Most people begin learning art at a young age if they want any real chance of success. But Strickland was already much older. His skills were not exceptional, and yet he still dared to pursue the impossible dream of becoming an artist. To most people, he looked truly foolish. And yet, he said something shocking. "You are the real fool. I told you, I have to paint. I cannot do otherwise." When a man falls into the water, it does not matter whether he is a good swimmer or a bad one. None of that matters. He either struggles to get out, or he drowns. So take a moment and think about that. Do you really need to be highly skilled before you begin? Do you really need the perfect conditions before you are allowed to chase a dream? Was he the foolish one, or is the world itself deeply confused? So many people out there use other people's standards of success and benefit to measure their own choices. They spend their limited time enduring a life that makes them unhappy, a life they never truly wanted. But when someone chooses to spend that same limited life pursuing a dream, whether it leads to success or failure, whether it brings gain or loss, is that foolishness or is that courage? Carl Jung once suggested that people will do anything, even absurd things, to avoid facing their own soul. But only those who dare to face their soul are the ones who truly awaken. Strickland was clearly one of those people. He dared to confront his inner truth. He stepped out of his comfort zone and chose to follow the call of his soul. Whether material things feel light as air or sacred above all else, whether they are treasures to cling to or simply shoes you can take off and leave behind, that depends entirely on you. How many people spend their whole lives only glancing at the moon, then lowering their heads again to chase the sixpence that pays for food, clothing, and survival. In this story, the moon represents a higher ideal, the beautiful goal hidden deep within the soul. The sixpence, small and ordinary, stands for the practical world and the daily realities of life. And that is the world we live in. A world overflowing with sixpence. A world full of desire, pressure, and endless pursuit. We keep our heads down. We keep running. We become servants of time, rushing through this short life, trapped in a web woven by expectations, relationships, and the demands of society. And somewhere along the way, we forget what we wanted in the first place. We become numb in the process of trying to become someone. If you keep looking down at the ground for sixpence instead of looking up at the sky, you may miss the moon completely. In truth, each of us begins as only a narrow stream, a small current with quiet potential. But those who insist that life is too short to live by someone else's script, and choose instead to live the rest of their lives in their own way, are the ones who turn themselves into rivers, into oceans. And if you think this story is simply trying to feed you a dangerous kind of emotional rebellion, then you may be underestimating the depth of this book. Schopenhauer once said that the greatest prison in this world is human perception. What binds a person's life is not wealth, not work, not even family. It is perception. Perception changes everything. And because perception is different, the life each person chooses to pursue will also be different. Even happiness itself is something only you can define. The moon and sixpence asks a question that never grows old. Whatever you choose, the moon or the sixpence, the final value of that choice can only be answered by your own heart. Your perception determines what you place first in life. Strickland's wife came from a refined and respectable background. She loved status, dignity, and the sense of honor that came with a polished life. To her, life had always felt like a quiet river flowing peacefully forward. But one day, that river was shattered by a storm. Her husband left without warning, leaving behind chaos and destroying the calm reality she had lived in for so many years. They had spent 17 years together, and yet the man who should have been the most familiar to her turned out to be the most distant. He had not left for another woman. He had left for painting. He abandoned his wife and children, and that made her feel deeply humiliated. She fell into despair, but she also woke up very quickly. The support she had depended on was gone, and now she had no choice but to stand on her own. So she did. She learned to type. She rented out the house. She sold furniture. She moved into a smaller home. And as always, even when someone disappears from our lives, the world keeps turning. Through hard work and persistence, her life slowly began to improve. Her career became more stable. Her children grew up and found their own path. In the end, she was able to move to a better place, leave behind the typing job, and return once again to a higher social circle. Why? Because in her perception, depending on others was never something honorable. To her, true worth came from self-reliance, from maintaining dignity, from living neatly, respectably, and with social grace. That was the goal she chose to pursue for her entire life. And this is the deeper truth. When perception is different, the order of priorities in life will also be different. And once priorities are different, the direction of effort will naturally be different too. As long as you genuinely feel joy in what you choose to do, as long as your heart is free from inner noise, contradiction, and constant conflict, then your choice does not need to be judged as right or wrong, noble or ordinary. In the end, your own heart is the only one that can answer that. Strickland placed art above everything else. He was willing to sacrifice everything to make that dream real. His wife placed dignity and social standing first. So she worked tirelessly and patiently to rebuild the life she wanted. And in both cases, each of them was simply moving toward what they valued most. You will always harvest what you choose to plant. And perhaps it is not an accident that two people who lived together for 17 years eventually had to part ways. Because by that point, their perceptions of life had become completely different. A great German philosopher once expressed an idea like this: I respect every independent soul. Even if I do not agree with some of them, I can still try my best to understand them. Some people love the soft and distant glow of the moon. Some people prefer the solid reality of a coin in their hand. Different perceptions may be hard to reconcile, but mutual respect is always the better path. You do not need to live cautiously inside someone else's way of seeing the world. But you also do not need to point fingers at the choices and values of others. There is no fixed ruler that can perfectly measure the order of priorities in a person's life. What matters is this: face your soul, live as your true self, and give your full effort to the path you choose. That, perhaps, is the message the author truly wanted to leave behind. Your perception shapes the way you treat other people. In the novel, there is another important character named Struve. He was a painter not yet 30, already bald, and not particularly gifted in technique. His paintings were clumsy and lacked true mastery. But what he did have was something rare: an extraordinary artistic eye and a remarkable ability to recognize genius. He was the only one who truly understood Strickland's paintings. And when Strickland became seriously ill, Struve was the one who gave everything to help him. He brought Strickland into his own home and cared for him, even though his wife strongly opposed it. But no one expected what happened next. Struve's wife had always disliked Strickland. Yet perhaps from the very first moment she saw him, she was drawn to him. As she cared for him day after day, that attraction grew deeper, until she found herself completely in love with him and wanted to live by his side. Struve was devastated. He suffered deeply, more than words could express. But because he loved his wife, and because he also admired Strickland's artistic gift so much, he made a choice that few people could understand. He stepped aside. He gave up his place in the hope that his wife and Strickland might be happy together. And yet, it was all in vain. It did not take long for Strickland to abandon this new relationship as well. Most people would immediately say that Strickland was simply a terrible man in love. But at the deepest level, the real problem was something else. Strickland and Blanche did not share the same perception of life. They were moving toward completely different destinations. Blanche longed for romantic love. She did not care about society's judgment. What she wanted was closeness, companionship, and emotional belonging. But in Strickland's heart, art came before everything else. He had no desire to spend his time on romance. He was consumed by a different calling. And so in the end, he chose to walk away. When two people see life differently, when they are guided by different values and pursue different purposes, it becomes almost impossible for love alone to hold them together forever. And then there is Struve. Even after everything, he still loved his wife deeply. When he heard about her, part of him still hoped she would return. But all that waiting brought him was unbearable pain. She eventually took her own life because of her love for someone else. And yet, even after that tragedy, Struve's love for art did not disappear. His admiration for Strickland's talent remained untouched. He even invited Strickland to come live with him in his hometown in the Netherlands, only to be rejected once again. In many ways, Struve was a good man from beginning to end. He was like a farmer holding a venomous snake in his arms. The snake bites him, the wound has barely healed, and yet he forgets the pain and gathers the snake back into his chest once more. Struve feels like one of those human contradictions that life creates so often. He was short, overweight, and easily mistaken for a smug and wealthy man. But in truth, he was an artist with a sharp and sensitive eye. His own paintings lacked truth. They were showy, distorted, and empty of real depth. Yet he himself was an honest man, someone incapable of grand words or false pretenses. That is what makes him so unforgettable. He was weak, yet kind. He was ordinary, yet able to see greatness. He suffered deeply, yet still chose generosity. And perhaps that is one of the hardest truths about human nature. A person can be flawed in talent, broken in love, and still remain beautiful in the way they treat others. He was kind, warm-hearted, and deeply generous. He probably never imagined that he would cross paths with someone like Strickland, a man who seemed to have no room in his heart for anyone else, a man so cold and detached in the eyes of others. Struve loved his wife more than he loved himself. Even when all he received in return was betrayal, his heart did not harden. He was mocked by his colleagues, yet when those same people needed money, he still chose to help them. That was the way Struve lived. He simply kept giving. Giving without asking for anything in return. As the novel suggests, Struve was noble and selfless. Even though his life ended in deep sorrow, that pain could never hide the greatness of who he truly was. Some people may look at Struve and say he was pitiful, naive, even foolish. But others may see something far deeper. They may understand the quiet greatness in the way he loved, forgave, and gave himself away. And that is the point. Different perception leads to different ways of treating people. Some people find joy in helping others without expecting anything back. Others live only to protect themselves, to gather for themselves, to place their own needs above everyone else. But no matter how harsh life becomes, there is always a place that belongs to you, a place where your clear conscience and your love for life can still rest safely. The way you see life will always shape the way you treat others. So whatever happens, do what your conscience tells you is right. Live fully. And never be afraid to give love. This book leaves us with a quiet but powerful reminder. Do what you truly want to do. Live in the way that feels right to your soul. Choose a life that is peaceful, grounded, and free from inner conflict. Choose a life that is guided by awareness, by spirit, and by the light of your own understanding. Success or failure will always mean something different to each person. Because perception is different, the way people choose to live will also be different. Some spend their lives chasing status and recognition. Some only wish for peace, stillness, leisure, and freedom. And in the end, the kind of life we choose to live will always be determined by one thing above all else: our perception. So how should we live if we do not want to look back with regret? Adler once said that you do not live to satisfy the expectations of others, and others do not live to satisfy yours. So listen to your own heart and choose the way of life that feels right to you. Is that not one of the greatest forms of success a person can ever have? A human life is never just a narrow road. It cannot be trapped inside simple words like success or failure, good or bad, right or wrong. Every person has their own way of living. No one else has the right to control it. No one has the authority to rank one way of life as higher or lower than another, as long as it is the life you truly choose. Van Gogh once said that there is a fire in every heart, but those who pass by can only see the smoke. So live for the fire within you, not for the smoke in the eyes of others. Whether you choose to look up at a sky full of stars or simply walk steadily on the ground beneath your feet, live in the way that feels true to you. As long as your heart is not filled with conflict, as long as you are not constantly fighting against yourself, that is enough. And those who keep moving toward their dreams, no matter how slowly, are truly beautiful. I hope that you and I, and all of us, will have the courage to live a wonderful life, to live as we truly desire, and to give our whole heart to this one life we have. Thank you for listening. If this video spoke to you, share it with someone who may need these words today. And if you want to support this channel, please leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the next video. Thank you again, and I will see you in the next one.